Before we begin, I'd like to make a quick land acknowledgement. New York University acknowledges that it is located in ancestral Lenape homelands, and it recognizes the long-standing significance of these lands for Lenape nations, past and present. We are also conscious that New York City has the largest urban Native population in the United States. We believe that historical awareness of Indigenous exclusion and erasure is critically important and are committed to working to overcome their effects in our own educational institutions. All right, now with that out of the way, thank you all for watching. My name is Owen Tynes, and I'm the graduate admissions representative for our office. I'm joined here today with some admissions officers from the different NYU colleges that host programs in the health and medical fields. We'll start the session out with some guided questions from me to the admissions officers, and then we'll open it up to questions from you all in the audience as well. Of course, if you do have questions while the presentation is going on, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box, which you can access by clicking on the button on the bottom of your screen. And if we don't answer it live, one of our event staff will answer your questions during the session as well. And if we still didn't get to any of your questions by the end of the session, feel free to send an email to us or to the admissions office associated with your graduate school or program of interest, and we'll be able to answer it there over the next few days. Now that you all know what you're in for, let's start the panel. I'll begin by asking the panelists to turn on their cameras and introduce themselves. Joseph, I see your camera's already on, so if you'd like to go first.
Not a problem. Thank you, Owen. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Joseph Baliakoto, and my pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm from NYU Roy Myers College of Nursing. And something unique about NYU Myers that I wanted to share with you all, we are one of the oldest PhD programs in nursing in the country.
Wow, yeah, thank you for that. Very interesting. I didn't even know that about Myers. And so I see Carrie on my screen next. Carrie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. I am Carrie Boodoo. I'm the Director of Admissions here at NYU Grossman School of Medicine. Something unique about NYU Grossman that draws students to enroll is our diverse patient population here. You have the ability to work in public, private, and government healthcare facilities if you come to NYU Grossman.
All right, thank you, Carrie. And yeah, the Grossman and NYU Langone facilities are truly some of the best that we have here in the city. Next, Rebecca, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Very happy to be here and representing NYU School of Global Public Health. My name is Rebecca Checo. I'm the Graduate Recruitment Specialist here for the Office of Admissions and Enrollment at NYU School of Global Public Health, or we like to call it GPH. You all will learn a lot very shortly, the acronyms that NYU has. Many acronyms will be used today, so you'll get more familiar. I think something unique about NYU in general is, it draws students to enroll and being part of NYU's unique global university with campuses here in the US, as well as campuses in Shanghai and Abu Dhabi. And I think it's just amazing the different opportunities that our students and our faculty have been able to experience, through very varied learning environments, as well as immersion in other cultures throughout their time here.
Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, NYU is definitely a very international institution. In fact, our graduate schools are over 40% international students. And then last but not least, Tom, if you would like to.
Certainly. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Tom Kleinert, the Associate Director of Graduate Admissions at NYU Steinhardt. I use he, him pronouns. One thing that's unique about NYU Steinhardt, which I can point out to other people on the panel, is we used to house the public health programs and the nursing programs. We are a large graduate school. We have over 4,000 students studying with us, and we want to keep us small and manageable. And just due to that, we've expanded, and you'll hear from my colleagues about global public health programs and nursing programs, which used to be at Steinhardt. Also unique to Steinhardt and also many of the NYU other programs is the ability to do study abroad programs at the graduate level. Not many universities have these offerings. I'm going to put my contact information at some point in the chat, but I believe, Owen, I'm passing it back to you.
All right, thank you, Tom. And yeah, there are so many opportunities here at NYU that are extremely unique. And so thinking of those opportunities and when it comes to graduate school in general, how does one determine if they want or need to go to graduate school? Who do you recommend them speaking with when they make the decision to apply? And if you can, let's try to apply this to your specific fields of study as well. So Joseph, if you'd like to begin again.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you, Owen. So, in answer to your first question, how does one determine if they want or need to go to graduate school? In our case at NYU Myers, all of our programs are geared toward people who have obtained a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing or a BSN degree. So, we offer three different programs. We offer our master's program, and we have an advanced certificate program, and we offer a doctoral program. So, we encourage you to reach out to us, especially me. I'm the assistant director for admissions for all those programs, and I can answer any basic questions that you might have about each of the programs. And for more in-depth curriculum questions, which I'm sure many prospective students will have, I can put you in touch with the program directors and faculty members who work with those programs who can really get into the nitty-gritty details about the curriculum and what the day-to-day experience would be like as well.
Yeah, it's definitely good to have those resources for students because going to graduate school is a very large commitment. So Carrie, you're next on my screen. Would you like to go next?
Yep. So for medical school, I guess it's a little bit different than graduate school. A lot of our applicants do make the decision to go into medicine, usually during their undergrad degree. However, if you do make the decision, kind of later on, we do have students, who have all different types of bachelor's degrees. So we don't have any required prerequisites, which is nice. So, you don't have to, study pre-health or pre-med in order to decide to apply to medical school, but you would need a bachelor's degree and you would need to take and submit MCAT scores. But if you aren't sure of your decision, if you want to go into medicine, we have a great group of student ambassadors who always love to talk about their experience with medicine, and we do have admissions officers who are happy to discuss different requirements about the application. But unfortunately here we don't have specific advisors at NYU Grossman, but we would recommend you reaching out to your pre-health advisor at your undergrad institution if that's where you currently are. We're happy to answer any general questions. I'll provide our contact information later, but I think I answered all the questions.
Yeah, great answer. Thank you, Carrie. Tom, you're next on my screen. Would you like to go next?
Sure. So as far as in the health professions, choosing graduate school is almost imperative. The programs we offer at NYU Steinhardt include speech, communicative sciences and disorders, sometimes known as speech pathology, occupational therapy, physical therapy, drama therapy, music therapy, art therapy, counseling for mental health and wellness, and if I didn't already say, nutrition. So these, in order to become licensed, you must have in many times a doctoral degree. You need a doctoral physical therapy in order now to practice physical therapy in the US. And for the other programs, you'll need at least a master's degree. So it's in order to become licensed in our health fields, you're going to need a graduate degree.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. And so just getting on the second half of that, is there anyone that you recommend that students kind of speak to when they make the decision to apply?
If that's still directed towards me, reach out to us in the Office of Graduate Admissions for questions, general information and questions regarding the application process, student life, financial aid, housing. But also we're offering about 80 program-specific information sessions. Just like you found this at the NYU Steinhardt website, you can find our information sessions, which we will have faculty at, student advisors, who are wonderful people for you to reach out to when trying to make a decision about graduate school.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, great to have those resources available. And I also want to highlight what Tom pointed out about, how the different programs that they offer are very important for students that want to be licensed to go into certain fields. It's important to think about how your career goals lead into what you're trying to achieve from your graduate school education. And that's going to vary a lot for each of the different schools here. And then, of course, last but not least, Rebecca, how does one determine if they want or need to go to graduate school? And who do you recommend them speaking with when making the decision to apply, especially at the School of Global Public Health?
Sure, thanks so much, Owen. So just to reiterate some of what the other representatives of the other NYU schools have said during this event so far, I think it's important to connect with admissions officers. A lot of admissions offices do provide conversations with current students or alumni, where you're able to get a better grasp of what their experience it was and what yours potentially can be. In regards to attending grad school here at NYU School of Global Public Health, if you're looking into becoming a public health professional, public health practitioner, going and continuing with your academic studies, whether it be enrolling in one of our master level programs, maybe one of our certificate programs, or as well as one of our doctoral programs, that will take you to the next level within your career. And then also, admissions offices are the best way to connect with, the school to kind of find out what the requirements are, eligibility, deadlines are going to be important too. And, it's important just to consider exactly what your goals are professionally, what your desired focus will be. Here at NYU GPH, we offer 9 different concentrations that you can specialize in within your Master of Public Health. So you do have a wide array of concentrations that you can specialize and focus on within your Master's Level program here at GPH.
Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, once again, like Rebecca said, it's just important to know how your graduate program leads into the career that you're looking to go into. And even within their program in GPH, they have 9 different specializations. And so speaking of the different, specializations and programs, that's actually a really good transition into the next question. We're going to begin talking about kind of the general application requirements for all of your different schools. Carrie, you said a little bit about how medical school, being a professional school, is a little different from graduate school. So how about you open up first by talking about the application requirements for your school, such as, GPA, test scores, resumes, etc.
Sure, thank you, Owen. So for medical school, one thing that Rebecca mentioned are deadlines. So deadlines are very important at our school, especially because you have to take and submit MCAT scores. So that's one of our, main requirements. You must take them, prior to the application year. So our deadlines are October 15th and November 15th. So October 15th, you need to submit all of your primary applications, which are, you have to have a bachelor's degree from either the United States or Canada. You need to have letters of recommendation, and you need to take and submit your MCAT scores. So those are the 3 big requirements in order to apply. And I believe that is kind of the core things. Obviously, throughout the application, there are, things that you need to submit, such as different experiences you've encountered, volunteer hours, a whole host of questions throughout that primary application. But I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat our, direct link if you want to look at our requirements on our web.
All right, thank you, Carrie. And just wanted to build off of that a little bit. Is there any suggestions that you have for students who are looking to reach out to different recommenders or writing their personal statement for the medical school specifically?
Yeah, sure. So for letters of recommendation for medical school, we do have, 2 recommendations. So either a pre-medical committee letter, which is, if you're in pre-med, usually these schools have a pre-medical committee letter, which that is all you would need to submit. If your school doesn't have that, we recommend 2 letters from professors who have taught you in the course. And we do recommend having one be, from a basic science professor. Since medicine is, very heavy in science, it's good to, get people who really know how great you are and are able to have that in the letter of recommendation. In order to kind of stand out, NYU Grossman is looking for someone who is very academically talented and interpersonally gifted. So it's important to make your application kind of stand out and really understand who you are. So through the personal statement, although that is important, what we kind of also like to look at is your application as a whole. So to see your experiences that you're doing, not just show that in your personal statement, but to also showcase that through the different experiences that you've held throughout your undergrad institution, and maybe before, such as extracurricular activity, shadowing, research, volunteering. All of those things are very important when applying to medical school.
Thank you, Carrie. And yeah, that's a very important thing to emphasize, especially here at NYU. We really like to make sure that all parts of the applicant is being seen by the admissions committee, because we're admitting that you based on all parts of who you are. And Joseph, I saw you took yourself off mute really quickly. So, if you'd like to go next, what are the general application requirements for your school?
Yeah, happy to jump in. So our general eligibility application requirements for our master's program is that you have a bachelor's of science in nursing or a bachelor's in a non-degree plus an associate's degree in nursing. We do ask that you have an eligibility of a minimum GPA of 3.0 and that you are a licensed nurse at the time of application. And if you are admitted and you choose to enroll, that you have your New York State registered nurse license by the first day of class, and that you've taken a basic statistics course and a basic research course at the undergraduate level. And some of our other master's programs have additional professional years of experience requirements. Generally, our year of experience we only require 1 year of experience as a registered nurse. And some of our other programs, such as acute care or pediatrics, have additional requirements, which are listed on our website. And for our advanced certificate programs, it's the same eligibility requirements as our master's program, plus that you have a master's degree in nursing.
Thank you, Joseph. And so, same question that I extended to Carrie. Do you have like any suggestions that you have regarding the personal statement and how students can make their application stand out a little more?
Yes, definitely. In regards to our personal statement, we always advise everyone to touch upon the fact why you're choosing to pursue graduate education at NYU Meyer specifically. There are a wealth of other nursing programs around the New York City area and around the country. And we always ask applicants, why are you choosing NYU Myers? And to really highlight that fact, as that makes a big difference to see if you're a good fit holistically here at NYU Meyer.
Of course, we want students that would be a great fit and love our institution. Thank you, Joseph. Rebecca, I imagine that you guys probably have a very different process, especially since students come from global public health from many different backgrounds as opposed to just one. So if you'd like to go next.
Sure, yeah, thank you so much. So here at GPH, we do not have a minimum GPA to be eligible to apply, nor do we require a certain amount of or certain prerequisite courses in order to apply for any of our master level programs. All of our programs, the application is available on SOFAS, which I can soon enter within the chat box. SOFAS is a centralized application service for all public health programs and schools. So that is the only place where you will be submitting an application and the only place you should be submitting your application materials as well. There's no separate application on a separate NYU site in order to be considered as an applicant for one of our programs. In addition to that, as Owen mentioned, we do have a big population of international students. About over 50% of our student body are international students. For any international students within this webinar, it's very important to note that official transcripts from all post-secondary institutions you have attended are required. And if you did study or earn your degree internationally, a foreign credential evaluation report will be needed in order to consider your application complete. The most common foreign credential evaluation service agencies are WES, W-E-S, or ECE, and we do accept both of them. In addition to that, we do require 3 letters of recommendation. On SOFIS, you can enter up to 5, but we will only review 3. And then for our international students, if your native language is not English, or if you did not earn a degree either in the US or in an institute where the primary language was English, you will most likely have to provide an English proficiency exam score report. And right now we are accepting TOEFL and IELTS as those English proficiency exam score reports. Personal statement is also required, word count of about 1,200. On SOFIS, you'll be given about 3 different prompts that you will have to respond within your overall response, but very similar to what Joseph was mentioning in regards to their personal statement. We are looking for, why is it that you want to acquire your degree here, specifically at NYU GPH? What are your goals within your studies here? And then especially, what are your goals after completing the program? We want to make sure that you're not only a valuable asset to the GPH and NYU community, but also to the public health community after graduating the program. And then we do also require your resume as an application material, although we do not require certain amount of work experience, years of work experience, to be eligible to apply. I hope that answers all of your questions, Owen.
Yes, thank you, Rebecca. And just real quick, could we get some deadlines for these programs?
Absolutely. So we do, for our master level program, we do have entries for both the spring and fall of 2024. Our 2024 application just opened up on SOFIS in mid-August, so you are able to submit an application now. For spring, you can apply for about 3 different concentrations. That's our community health science practice, public health nutrition, and bioethics. That final deadline for the application is December 15th. And then for our fall 2024 term, that application will be February 1st of next year. And then for anyone interested in any of our doctoral programs, that application deadline is December 1st of this year.
Great, thank you, Rebecca. So definitely some dates to keep track of in the next coming months. And then last but not least, Tom, if you want to share the general application requirements for your schools, things like GPA, test scores, resumes, etc.
Sure, I wish I could say things were nice and neat at Steinhardt, but each program is going to have different requirements. We have many different deadlines. Some of our health programs, such as occupation.
Tom, you still there? Looks like Tom might be having a little bit of an issue. So we'll come back to them in a second. Before we do that, let's just move on to the next question. So as all of you watching know, a big part of the graduate school process is how you're going to figure out the payment of it. So what should students be doing now to plan to pay for graduate school, and how can they figure out if they can afford it? Joseph, if we could start with you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Owen. So one thing I always tell any prospective students that are considering NYU Myers to keep in mind that most students do our graduate programs, attend our graduate programs on a part-time basis while working full-time, because most hospital networks around the New York City area provide some sort of tuition remission. So I advise all prospective students to, if they're currently working around the tri-state area or they're planning to come to the tri-state area and start working as a nurse and attend graduate school, to look into their employers or prospective employers' tuition remission benefits, as that can greatly offset the cost of attending a graduate program at NYU Myers. And I also specifically advise them to look for opportunities at NYU Langone hospitals, because once they are employed as a nurse at NYU Langone for over a year, they're entitled to full tuition remission benefits at NYU Myers. So that's one specific aspect that I try to highlight to all incoming students, and to take advantage of the number of donor scholarships that we have available that are listed on our website, which I'll post in the chat shortly, that are available for all graduate students each semester that they're able to apply.
Thank you, Joseph. And yeah, I think that's a really good point to just emphasize right there, that there are many employee programs that have different forgiveness programs or partial or even full remission programs for different employees. So even if you're not interested in nursing, if any of you are fully employed right now, make sure that you look closely into your different employee benefits to see if one of those could possibly apply to you. Next, Rebecca, if you'd like to talk about, what students should be doing to plan to pay for graduate school and how they can figure out if they can afford it at GPH.
Absolutely. So here at GPH, we do offer merit-based scholarships for our students. Over 50% of our students do receive merit-based scholarship award. I mentioned earlier, we don't have a minimum GPA to be eligible to apply for any of our master level program, but when we are looking into scholarship consideration, admission committee, they're looking for at least a 3.0 as your cumulative GPA. With that being said, merit-based scholarship awards, they are given at the same time of receiving your admissions letter. So you'll receive both of them together if you were awarded a scholarship award. The highest scholarship award you can get is roughly around $45,000. And that's during the duration of your studies. And that does not, in order to be considered for a merit-based scholarship, you do not have to submit a separate application, nor do you have to provide additional paperwork. As long as you submit your complete application, you will be considered for merit-based scholarship, both domestic and international applicants as well. Another thing to mention is financial aid. So financial aid options are available for U.S. citizens and permanent residents of the U.S. through FAFSA. So that's the U.S. Department of Education. Many of our students have been able to secure funding through there. And lastly, external scholarship aid is definitely a resource that you'll want to get started sooner rather than later. It usually takes about 6 to 9 months to secure an external scholarship aid or external scholarship award. So even if you have not started your application, or if you're still looking through different schools and programs, I think it's super beneficial for you all to look into external scholarship awarding and what the process to receive one of those are. I'll be able to enter in the chat box in a short while the Association of Schools and Programs of Public Health. That website has a really great database of scholarship and financial aid opportunities for domestic and international students, specifically pursuing a degree in public health. So I'll make sure to enter that very, very soon.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. And then last but not least, Carrie, how should students worry about affording to medical school and figuring out if they can afford it? I'm aware that you guys have a specific program.
Yes, so at NYU Grossman in 2018, we introduced our full tuition scholarship program, which actually covers the full cost of our tuition here. It was a really amazing thing to be announced. So the only cost that you would have to do is your cost of living expenses, so your room and board. So for that additional expense, we do have offer financial aid counseling, where, like Rebecca mentioned, you can apply for FAFSA to receive financial aid. But we also do have merit-based scholarships to cover that additional expense. That is not our entire class, but a good portion of our class also receives merit-based scholarships. In 21-22, we also announced debt-free scholarships, which are eligible for specific students who show need-based scholarships. So you would need to submit, your FAFSA and CSS profiles to see if you're eligible for that. But I will, in the chat, put our financial aid. If you have, any questions, we have a financial aid office that you can ask any questions about how you could cover the additional cost.
All right, thank you for that, Carrie. Yeah, Tom, glad to
I'm
have
butting in with a quick apology, everyone. My biggest fear happened. I've been having some connectivity issues. I am at NYU, physically in my office. Sorry if I'll try and catch up. Owen, what can I address?
No problem at all, Tom. We're happy to have you back.
Okay.
So first, if you could just, I guess I'll make this a two-parter for you so you can talk for a little bit. Just, I guess, finish up what you were saying about the application requirements. We know they're extremely varied from Steinhardt, but if you could just say anything that students can generally do to make their application stand out. And then next, what should students be doing to what should students be doing to plan to pay for graduate school? And how can they figure out if they can afford it?
Is this all coming from me?
All for you, Tom.
Okay. So we want you to quietly boast about yourself. We want you to make us believe that NYU Steinhardt, and we know you do believe this, is the program and the school you want to attend. You don't need to let us know about the other schools that you've applied to. The whole purpose of the application is for you to stand out as an individual who's going to contribute to the program, who we feel is academically ready for graduate study and understands the program of study they're getting involved with. Our basic requirements are that you will have completed your undergraduate degree before starting one of our master's programs. Most of our programs do not require the GRE, just the PhD in nutrition and our DPT, Doctor of Physical Therapy programs. Again, standing out is just being who you are today is really what matters to us. What are you currently involved in? Not what were you like 10 years ago, if there's been a gap in your education. It's what you're doing now and what's relevant to the program of study that you may be pursuing. Are you doing an internship that's health related? Are you currently taking health related undergraduate coursework? And I will put our how to apply information. Each of our programs has a separate deadline. I think when I got cut off, I was trying to say that some of our programs offer both an online and on-campus option, which you'd have to choose what modality you would like, whether you want to study counseling for mental health and wellness, occupational therapy, or communicative sciences and disorders online, where the programs are all going to have basically the same requirements, but it's one, you are physically in New York, and the other, you more have the convenience of the location. If you're California, Hawaii, doing it at a little more online and not physically in New York. Oh, and what am I leaving out? Please fill me in. I have no issue talking, but I feel bad that I was gone for that brief period of time.
No problem at all. Just now the second part about like how students should be planning to pay for graduate school and figure out if they can afford it.
Great. There's not just one way you're going to be able to apply, pay for it. Our students are doing this a combination, personal savings, applying for scholarships, which NYU Steinhardt has in our paying for your education section of the application. Many of our students are considering loans and obviously looking for outside scholarships. We will be having separate information sessions just about paying for your education at Steinhardt. I wish we could throw that all into this information session. It is something at the individual information sessions we try and highlight as well, but I don't want to take away from the rest of the panel. But start planning now. Yeah, most of our programs are a fall start only, and they're going to start the first week of September of 2024. So you do have about a year to get this all together from when you're starting the application to when you would be starting as a student.
Thank you, Tom. And that's actually a really good transition to our next question, which comes from somebody in the audience. As a reminder, we're going into the Q&A portion of the panel right now. So if you do have any questions, especially anything that you think could be good to answer for a general audience, please feel free to drop that into the Q&A box. So this question is basically asking about how the process of applying to external scholarships go. They're asking, like, are you supposed to apply as a prospective student or wait until you're a current student? And stuff like what happens if you get a scholarship, but then you aren't admitted to the school. Tom, you just spoke, we'll give you a break. But Rebecca, you spoke a little bit about the external scholarship search. So if you'd like to say anything about that.
Yeah, sure. I think it's important just to research the different opportunities that are available as you are also completing your application for whichever school you are interested in applying for. Meeting those deadlines are going to be super important, and also just making sure you're informing yourself of what those eligibility requirements are for the external scholarship funding. I know for ASPPH, they do have different opportunities available for domestic students and different opportunities available for international students, scholarship funding wise. So you'll want to make sure you inform yourself of those requirements in addition to the deadlines. And then, yeah, just, pretty much setting up a list of the different opportunities that you are hoping to apply for. And at the same time of gathering your paperwork and your application materials for your public health program school application, you can also work on gathering the paperwork and maybe some, there may be some personal statements or personal essays that you need to provide for the scholarship, the external scholarship funding. So both of them can be done in together at the same time. It's just more or less, making sure you know all of the information for each scholarship program and then in addition to your application.
Thank you, Rebecca. And Tom, without, going too much into what you're going to be talking about at your information session, a little bit about the external scholarship for Steinhardt and, what that kind of looks like.
External scholarships. So those not offered through.
Yeah, basically, should students be looking for them before they've entered a program, or do you see that it's more common for students to get them like after they've already started?
Sure. So as far as what we consider external scholarships, our international students might be looking at Fulbright scholarships. They may be looking into country-offered scholarships for our international applicants, meaning those that do not hold U.S. citizenship. There's a wonderful resource called Education USA, which has advisement offices around the world that runs information sessions as well that are program specific about financial aid. But within Steinhardt, our US applicants and our green card holders are going to want to fill out a FAFSA form in order to be considered for our school-based funding and also for loans. And then for both our domestic and our international students, we have what we call scholarships that are based on, are you first generation college student? Are you an international student? We have one for those in the health professions that you can apply for. We want you to apply for our scholarships basically at the time that you've submitted your application. And I'm hoping that's the information you were looking for. I wanted to shout out to April and Christy that I am no longer a host, so I can't put anything in the chat. I don't know if I can be remade a host. My apologies, everyone. Sorry if I'm acting a little frazzled about being, but this was my worst fear that I was going to be kicked out. But I'm back and available to you even after this panel happens.
No problem, Tom. And thank you for all that. You should be co-host again now. So yeah, thank you for all the information about the scholarship process. And if there's any resources that you want to throw in the chat, I'm sure the audience would be more than happy. And so the last I'd like to address sort of this question too, Joseph. We talked about tuition remission, but we haven't talked much about, scholarships in the School of Nursing, internal or external. So I guess just, how common are scholarships and just what does the scholarship selection look like in the School of Nursing?
Yeah, happy to address that question, Owen. So in regards to scholarships offered by NYU Myers, we have a number of donor-funded scholarships that are available for graduate students to apply for when the semester starts. Our scholarship officer would reach out to all enrolled graduate students, letting them know that these donor-funded scholarships are available on our website to apply for. I did send the link out in the chat in case anyone wanted to take a look at the descriptions and read up on them. And in regards to external scholarships, it's usually just a tuition remission that students that are eligible for they can take advantage of, or there's the Nurse Corps program offered by the federal government, the Health Resources and Services Administration, where you can apply for, and in case you are accepted for the scholarship, your tuition is fully paid for by the federal government, and at the end of the program, you are agreeing to work in a facility with a critical care shortage somewhere around the country. So a number of students do apply for that as well before they start the program, see if they're admitted for that funding.
Thank you, Joseph. And yeah, that's another really good resource to point out. Something that Tom talked about and Joseph did, but in different ways. There are different federal scholarships that could be available for you, whether you're a US citizen looking to go into an area like nursing where they have critical needs, or from another country where they're looking to, sponsor students going abroad. So make sure you look into government scholarships as well. And so the next question that we got from the Q&A is something that I see students ask a lot about. It's about research opportunities. What research opportunities are available to students in the different programs in your schools? Carrie, since you already talked a lot about scholarships, we'll have you start off with this one, if you'd be willing to.
Yeah, of course. So at NYU Grossman, we have a ton of different research opportunities. We also have, a different program, but we have a PhD program if that's what you're interested in. We also have an MD PhD program. So if you're looking to get your medical degree and a PhD, we have, resources for you there. We have many different research facilities here, like the Science Building, Vilcek. It's just, unlimited different research opportunities. So pretty much anything that you're kind of interested in, there are probably, research opportunities here. I'm happy to share in the chat, where you could find additional information. And if you're interested in doing that, I'll provide it in the chat.
Thank you, Carrie. I'm sure that would be very helpful and good to know there's so many research opportunities available in the medical program. Tom, sorry to call you out here a little bit, but yeah, what research opportunities are available at Steinhardt? How do students go about that? There's a student who's specifically wondering about the master's in, oh, they said the MPH. I guess they're talking about, I'm not sure which program MPH is, but anyway, yeah, if you'd like to speak on that at all.
So all of our PhD doctoral students will be involved in research as part of their programs. NYU Steinhardt has many research institutes that students are able to get involved with beyond their curriculum. It's not uncommon that a student might volunteer in one of our research institutes for maybe 10 hours and get a valuable experience that if they are in a master's program, might be considering future studies, working alongside a faculty member or a current doctoral student. So yeah, it's almost an extracurricular activity, but then again, built into many of our programs is required research coursework. So there's endless opportunities to get involved with research at NYU Steinhardt.
Thank you, Tom. And so Rebecca or Joseph, would either of you like to chime in a little bit just about the research opportunities available in your schools?
Yeah, I can definitely chime in. So yeah, I mentioned earlier there are some concentrations within our master level programs at GPH that can be done fully online. So there is always opportunity to complete or to participate in research opportunities fully online as well. We have here at GPH, we house many dynamic centers, labs, and initiatives and programs that students can immerse themselves no matter where they are, whether they are completing their program fully online or completely in person. Most of those opportunities can take place for about a semester, sometimes even two. Most of them are also faculty-led lab where you are working with other group members in addition to a faculty member or two on a specific public health practice or a certain research project as well. But yes, there is opportunity to participate in research centers, labs, initiatives, and programs here at GPH if you do decide to pursue an MPH program fully online. I went ahead and entered a link of our different centers, labs, and initiatives within the chat box, so you all can look into it further after this webinar.
All right. Thank you, Rebecca. And Joseph, I see you took yourself off mute. If you have anything you'd like to say about the research opportunities at the nursing school.
Yeah, thank you, Owen. So there are a number of research opportunities that our graduate students can get involved in. They can take a specific research course that's offered at NYU Myers as part of their curriculum plan, using one of their elective courses, or they can choose to complete research at an external site while completing clinical hours that are required for all of our programs. So there are a number of opportunities that enrolled students can work with their respective program directors to conduct research if they wish to.
All right, thank you, Joseph. And since we're running to the last 10 minutes of the event here, I guess I just like to send this next question out to anybody who has an answer to it. So one thing that I've noticed working with different graduate schools is that some of them have specific parts of the application that they think that they tend to emphasize more than other graduate schools. Like for Gallatin, which is the individualized learning school, the statement of purpose is something that's very emphasized, or for the MBA program, they really like to see the different work experience that students have had. So is there any part of the application in you all school that you feel is emphasized particularly?
For School of Global Public Health, I would agree that the statement of purpose, personal statement is weighted considerably. There is no interview kind of component associated with the master's level program admissions process. So your personal statement is really going to be where you're able to shine and express exactly what your goals are and why is it that you want to acquire a degree here, a graduate degree here at NYU GPH. I would also say your letters of recommendations are weighted considerably as well. We're looking for consistency throughout your recommenders. A big portion of our student body are students that apply as they're completing their undergrad, but we do have a big portion of our student body that also are working professionals. So it's not required to have all of your recommendations to be all academic or all of your recommendations to be all professional. A lot of the work that's being done within the public health field, a lot of it's done within, teams and groups. So we are looking for someone that can attest to you having really great teamwork skills, team building skills, in addition to working independently as well. But yes, I would definitely say for GPH, your personal statement as well as your letters of recommendation are weighted considerably.
All right, thank you for that, Rebecca. Joseph, I see yourself off mute if you'd like to chime in here.
Yeah, I also wanted to echo Rebecca's statement that our personal statement is weighted pretty heavily in our holistic application review process, specifically encouraging applicants to really highlight why they're choosing NYU Myers, and also the letters of recommendation. We do also ask that when applicants submit letters of recommendation, they choose to select a nurse who is master's or doctorally trained and can attest that they can complete that same training as well. So that's something we do try to highlight as well.
All right, thank you, Joseph. And Tom, I saw yourself go off mute quickly in case there's anything that you would want to chime in about that.
Although not conducted by all of our programs, but definitely by our PhD programs, if you are invited for an interview, that is indeed going to be what I consider the most important part of finalizing a decision on your application. But like our Counseling for Mental Health and Wellness program does not conduct interviews. So we do, you're going to hear this if you go to other information sessions. It's a holistic review that's done, looking at all the components of your application before making a decision, keeping that in mind that if you're currently an undergraduate student finishing some studies and don't have much work experience, or your academics are going to be looked at very heavily. If you've been out and working for a while, we're going to be looking at, is it relevant work experience that you've had or volunteer experience? Not so much the degree that you got 15 years ago. For the most part, for our health professions, any of the coursework, the prerequisite coursework that may be required, we don't want that to be older than 10 years. We just don't know how much you would remember of your anatomy and physiology course that you took 10 years ago. I certainly wouldn't remember that material even beyond a couple of years. Again, I'm going on, but yes, it's not just one thing. It varies from program to program, but be yourself. Again, I say this quietly boast, and it's who you are today that really matters.
Thank you, Tom. Carrie, it seems like you want to speak up as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just kind of echoing a lot of what Tom said is we do weigh heavily on our interviews. So if you are invited for an interview, obviously that is taken into consideration. But also since medicine is, such a dedication to your kind of career, we like to see within your application why you want to choose a career in medicine. Medical school is 4 years and then you have your residency. So it's a lot of years to kind of prepare. So our interviewers and admissions committees like to see, why the dedication to medicine and really showcase that through the application. Especially if you do kind of have a career change, which we have plenty of, applicants who, went to school to be an engineer. And then a few years later, they decide they want to kind of go into medicine. So someone like that really does have to showcase, why the change and, are you sure you want to go into medicine?
Thank you, Carrie. And especially the last things that Carrie and Tom pointed out about how some of these things really depend on applicant to applicant. And so, what might be most emphasized to you also depends on what you're sending out to the schools. So as we come into the last few minutes here, I first want to thank you all the panelists, of course, for their wonderful answers. I hope that everybody watching has been able to get a lot of really good information about, the graduate admissions process. Do you have any, final advice or words of wisdom, any, definite do's or don'ts that prospective students should be aware of? Whoever wants to jump in first.
I can start. One thing that I kind of jotted down was to apply early. Be prepared, have all of your items in place and apply early. Our application cycle is similar to what Tom mentioned. It's pretty much a full year before you start classes. So what is important is apply early, have all of your materials kind of put together and know where you're applying, what you need for each school, because that is definitely going to be important.
All right, thank you, Carrie. And Joseph, I saw you go off mute too, if you want to go next.
Yeah, the one suggestion I had to let any prospective graduate nursing students know that to really highlight why they want to apply for that specific program and to really talk about, I want to be a nurse in pediatrics because of XYZ, but I only have experience in ABC, and really try to link those two together, even though you might not have that particular experience you're looking to get yet.
Thank you, Joseph. Tom or Rebecca, if you'd like to go next, any final advice for the crowd?
Well, it goes without saying, we want you to highlight your strengths. One of the don'ts, I'd say, is people that fixate on what they might feel as a shortcoming in their application. A D in English that they took their freshman year may not be as relevant to a course in physical therapy. Again, yeah, many people go on and on about, oh, I had COVID and that's why my grades are awful. We give you the opportunity to share these things, but more highlight on your accomplishments than things that you think that you fear are going to keep you from possibly being considered as an applicant. Forgive my rambling, folks.
No problem. Thank you, Tom. And last but not least, any final advice from GPH, Rebecca?
Yeah, absolutely. So as many of my colleagues already mentioned, starting early, planning ahead, meeting your deadlines. I think deadline was probably like the key word throughout today's webinar, is meeting your deadlines and making sure you're informing yourself of the deadlines. All of you within this call, like many of us already, you have a lot of things you're juggling within your life. So you're going to want to make sure that you're staying on top of applying for grad school if this is what you want to do, because it is the next step in your life journey. So you'll want to make sure you commit yourself as much as possible to your success and staying as motivated as you can. I think another thing to mention is reaching out to support when you need it. This is what this panel is all about, is introducing us to you guys, making that connection. And if you have any questions, I always think of the best questions late at night, but this is just the beginning of the conversation, not the end. So you can always reach out to any one of us if you do have any questions about our specific programs, or just, the general graduate school application process, reaching out to the people that are here to support you for sure.
Thank you, Rebecca. And with that, well, thank you all for your advice, and we conclude our panel. Once again, I want to just, thank everybody for coming here today and being here with us for this event. Thank the admissions officers for their wonderful answers, and I hope that you all walked away with some great information. If any of you still have any questions, as a reminder, there's a lot of information left over in the chat, so make sure to check that out. And of course, you can send an email to our office or to any of the offices here with any questions that you may have as well.